Alright, so I've always been a fan of racing games. It's always been one of my favourite kinds of games because I've always had a very big interest in cars. So ever since I can remember, I've always been playing car games. The first game I remember playing was Gran Turismo 3 for PS2, and also there was Mario Kart for the Nintendo DS as well, which I remember playing first. One type of car game which I've always liked is simulator games. Now, the game I'm going to be playing today, isn't a simulator whatsoever, but the kinds of games I've always liked to play most is simulators. And this game really is anything but. It's not a simulator whatsoever. So, I have actually done LEGO races in the past, but I don't really want to go over that.
Why hello there, this is an interesting video.
So before you can race, you have to build your character. So when you build your character, introduced with this screen. So this is what the making driver menu looks like. I think in the end, my driver did come out pretty cool. Isn't he just the best?
Wow!
So after you've chosen your character, he does a little jump for joy, and you have to go into the name creator. So I wanted my name really to be Sam in the House, but as there's a character limit, it ended up becoming Sam in the How. Isn't it just amazing? After you press build car, you are introduced with this menu. This is the build car menu. Now what you can do here is you can quick build cars. Now here these have bits of body which you don't actually have or can use, but some of these things are actually pretty damn awesome, and I do kind of wish I chose them. So I ended up going with the more racy style vehicle. Now you see, one problem with this is that if you want to go back to an earlier piece that you've undone, you have to take off all the pieces that you put on afterwards. So that is a big inconvenience if you're making a big build on it. Well, big, but it's inconvenient. So in the end, this is what the Howlmobile looks like. Isn't it just amazing? So with our new vehicle created, we can now go and test drive it. That is what you call a test track. Now as you can see, this test track is just brilliant, and the soundtrack to go with it is just great. Now here as well, we also have an off-road section just to see how well this car can run off-road. Now as you can see here, that little green bit is actually a power-up, and in the bottom corner, it shows you what the power-up is. So this one here is Boost. These little white pieces here are power-ups for the power-up, if that makes sense. So after 5 minutes of driving about, I just thought, it was time to end it really, and now it's time to race. The game controls are pretty difficult to get used to though. So after his little jump for joy, after I've picked him, it's time to start the race. So this is where the race begins. As you can see, I had a great start. You know, I don't know how to get boost at the start, so that's an absolutely brilliant start, really, isn't it? So during the first lap, I managed to get all the power-ups for the boost power-up, and this is how it goes. Pretty snazzy if you ask me. So believe it or not, the Helmutbill almost won, but came second, which was rather annoying. So as you can tell, I came second behind the one and only Pharaoh's Mummy. Great name, am I right, lads? So here we move on to the second race. So here we are at the start line, and guess what I don't know how to do? Boost. So there you go, there's 2 people off already, and it's a hard time catching up with them, I'll tell you that. Because it's not like in Mario Kart where when you start you can rev up just before and then you can get a boost off the start. There's no way to know. There's just no way to do it. I have to say, this track does have a pretty intense soundtrack. So again, as you can see, I come second after being blown up by Mr. Redbeard there. Still frustrating, I still want to get first. But to my delight, as you can see here, I'm actually first in the table. I'm actually winning, technically, with 40 points. Even though it's a draw, but I still want to say I'm winning because I want my victory. And here we are with the penultimate race. This one is... Alright, and guess what I don't get again? The boost! This time 3 of them get it! And I still stuck at the back! Oh, the joy! These parts out here sure do look scary. But luckily there's a part there where I can cut the corner, so that bit is technically useless. There's no need for it whatsoever, it's just to try and catch you out. So that's great. So there's this spot here coming up where someone managed to use a grappling hook and it propels me forward, so that was a useless grappling hook, wasn't it? So this race is great, luckily, because I have the ability to spam boost here. I actually win the race. So you ready? Look at this. Oh, I won it. Look at that first place clean victory. Oh, I was so happy with myself. Look at that. So here we are on our final race. Guess what I don't get again? Oh yes. So that pillar falls down. So look where I come again. I win. There's 2 wins in a row, and you know what that means? I won the entire thing. So as you can see, I finish with the top 100 points. So when we finish, we're introduced with this gorgeous cutscene. So then after that, we got our new circuit set. We now have Captain Redbeard's car. There are lots of new stuff you can add to this car which can make it a lot nicer, and there's more stuff you can add to other cars now too. So has LEGO Racers really changed my view on how I play driving games? I don't think so, really.